1, make others feel important. The 1001 Nights have many stories. One of them is about a wealth cave that would only open if someone said, "Open sesame." When said, the thick door would slide open, letting the person who spoke them see an endless number of treasures. The open sesame of human relationships makes people feel important by putting them first. For some reason, making other people feel important feeds their inner desires. People will judge everything you do or don't do by this question. Does it make people feel more or less important? At times, I ask people who come to my workshops how often they are emotionally charged and how often they are logically charged. Every answer is different, but the real answer is that everyone is emotionally charged. People make choices based on how they feel first, then use logic to explain them, but feelings always come first. It's important to remember that everything you feel counts. Things that happen to you in life have a mental impact on you. Everything that happens to you can make you happy or sad, driven or not, friendly or angry, scared or sure of yourself. There is no neutrality. 2, be spontaneous and fearless. Almost all the fears a person has in adulthood are learned in childhood, mostly as a result of destructive criticism, physical punishment, or a lack of love and affection. From a young age, we start to develop the fear of failure and criticism. These negative habit patterns become the root cause of all our fears, doubts, and reservations. Our parents originate the fears that will affect us throughout our lives. The fear of failure, loss, ridicule, humiliation, illness, and death. When they use a combination of destructive criticism and disapproval to manipulate and control our behaviors, we interpret this treatment as a withdrawal of love. Since the loss of love is very traumatic, as children, we lose our boldness and spontaneity, conforming to the belief that they want our security. The worst feeling of all is, I am not good enough. Since our minds and emotions are not fully formed when we are young, we are more susceptible to the negative influences of the important people in our lives. When our parents punish, criticize, or say negative things to us, we accept their comments as valid statements about who we are. We lack the capacity to discriminate, question, or reject their words and the treatment they give us. We are defenseless. As adults, we continue to have doubts, fears, and reservations that have their roots in our childhood. No matter how much we achieve later, we are always subject to these negative habit patterns that were imprinted on us when we were children. Almost any negative emotion will awaken those old emotions recorded in our subconscious mind, which will never disappear. 3, become an expert in relationships. People who say and do things that make us feel important and valuable, on the other hand, have a good effect on us because we are mostly emotional. When someone says or does something nice, it makes us feel good about ourselves, loves and respects us more, and makes us feel good about them. A good way to become an expert at relationships is to learn how to talk and act in ways that make other people feel important and valued. There will be a lot of opportunities for you if you consistently say and do things that make people feel good about their lives, jobs, and families. Everyone will be happy to see you. People will look up to you, love you, and want to be with you. People will want to read about you, hire you, work for you, and buy from you. People will follow your lead and pay attention to what you say, giving you power at work and in your community. Good news, anything you say or do that helps someone else will also help you feel better. Feeling driven, encouraged, or inspired yourself makes you want to do the same for others. You will feel better about your own self-esteem when you help other people feel better. The other way around is also true. If you say or do something that hurts someone, makes them feel less important, or weakens their self-esteem, it will hurt you too. This is why the most negative people always seem to be upset or angry. These people have low self-esteem and a bad opinion of themselves. They are hard to get along with, bad at relationships, and usually do badly at work. They hurt themselves with everything they say or do that hurts someone else. 4, practice the golden rule. The starting point for becoming an expert in relationships is developing the habit of practicing the golden rule in everything you do with the people you interact with. This rule, which is the principle of most religions, states, treat others as you would like to be treated. Buddhism expresses it as, do not hurt others with what hurts you. This principle is so simple and powerful that if everyone applied it, the world would be transformed immediately. The German philosopher Immanuel Kant advocated what he called the universal maxim, which says, live your life as if every action you take would become a universal law for everyone. In other words, imagine that everyone did and said the same things you do and say at any moment. Would this be good or bad? When you impose this kind of standard on yourself, you start to transform your life. You immediately become a better person. 5. The great habits to improve relationships. If you want to have good relationships at home and at work, you should work on these 5 habits. Being able to accept, be grateful for, admire, approve of, and pay attention are these skills. 1. Acceptance. You should make acceptance a habit first. This is also known as unconditional good regard in the field of psychology. In their heart, everyone wants to be accepted by others without any conditions ever being met. This need will be met every time you are with someone, making them feel useful and important. When we were kids, our parents often manipulated us by giving and taking away their love and respect. This made us very sensitive to what other people thought and how they treated us. We did almost anything as kids and teens to make sure our friends and peers liked us, or at least didn't dislike us. As adults, wanting to be liked by important people and even strangers can become so important that we will do anything to avoid being turned down. We might even lose who we are sometimes. People feel better about themselves and their ability to be happy and express themselves easily when you accept them as they are, without any conditions or exceptions, comments, criticism, or suggestions that they should change. Friends of the main character in Bridget Jones's diary are shocked when she talks about a guy who loves her just the way she is. It looked like none of them had ever met someone who felt that way. The best dating, marriage, and parenting experiences happen when everyone in the relationship, especially parents and spouses, accepts the other person no matter what. Keep in mind that rejection is the opposite of welcome. Feeling like other people don't accept you can lead to a lot of bad feelings, fears, and doubts. Get used to letting everyone into your life without any conditions. This will make everyone happy where you go. Just smiling at someone every time you see them is the best way to show that you accept them. Smiling involves only 17 muscles. To frown, you need 43. Because of this, smiling is much easier and works much better. Someone else's self-esteem goes up when you smile, and endorphins making you feel better make you smile too. Getting used to accepting everyone as they are is important. You'll be surprised at how much good you do for the people around you. 2. Develop an attitude of gratitude. The second habit you should develop to become an expert in relationships is gratitude. One of the most effective emotions you can develop to relate better is gratitude. The more grateful you are for the good things in life, the more good things you will have. Start each morning by giving thanks for being alive, for having a family and friends who love you, for having health and well-being. Give thanks for having a job, opportunities for the future, and a wonderful country to live in. Instead of complaining and criticizing, as many people do, think about what makes you happy and give thanks whenever you can. The word that best expresses gratitude is thank you. Get used to saying thank you to everyone for anything they do. Thank the person who lets you change lanes in traffic, your partner for making you breakfast, your children for doing their homework, your boss whenever they say or do something kind, and your employees for doing a good job. Thank the waiters in restaurants and the customer service workers when you call. Get used to generating a field of gratitude that travels with you wherever you go. Every time you thank people for something they have done or said, or for a positive quality they have shown, their self-esteem rises. Every time you give thanks and raise someone's self-esteem, yours also increases. 3. We all like compliments, and the third habit is admiration. Lincoln said that everyone likes being praised. Getting used to admiring other people's traits, abilities, or things is important. Give them praise. When they are on time, compliment their hard work. Take notice of their money, clothes, or cars. You should tell someone how nice their house is when you visit. This includes the rooms, the furniture, and the decorations. Admire what people have done, like the awards or diplomas they have. Tell their kids and partners nice things. Give them praise for their businesses and offices. When the waiter serves you quickly, say something like, "You were very fast today." Some people feel better about themselves when you compliment them on something like how they look or what they're wearing. They are happier, more useful, and more important. The boomerang effect also makes you feel better about yourself, which makes you happy. 4. Raise people's self-esteem. Another way to make others feel important is by developing the habit of complimenting and praising them whenever you can. This satisfies another of people's essential needs, which is the need to feel valuable and respected by others. When you praise someone, their self-esteem increases, and they feel motivated to repeat the behavior for which you praise them. In fact, one definition of self-esteem is the extent to which a person feels worthy of praise. In motivational psychology, regularly praising someone for positive behavior creates the habit of practicing that behavior. It has been proven that this positive reinforcement is a powerful tool for motivating and dealing with people. What you praise and approve of tends to be repeated. Get used to praising and approving others whenever they do something positive and desirable that you want to see repeated. Praise your children for tidying up their room. Praise them for doing their homework. Praise them for getting good grades. Praise your partner for anything they do around the house. A friend of mine, management author Ken Blanchard, recommends giving 1-minute praises around the office. To make someone feel important, public praise or praise in a staff meeting is more effective. If you praise someone publicly for something they have done, the impact on their self-esteem and personal worth will be greater. Usually public praise is remembered for many years. 5, the magic of listening. To get good at relationships, the 5th thing you need to do is listen when other people talk. You need to learn how to listen. A lot of people can't listen. Most of the time they are busy and think about other things while someone talks to them. Because of this, they don't listen carefully and either get what was said wrong or can't remember exactly what was said. This leads to misunderstanding, disagreements, and wasted time and effort. You have to practice listening in order to get better at it. Getting into the habit of good listening can be done in a number of steps. There are 4 things you need to do to listen right. In fact, you can read any book or article, listen to any podcast, or go to any training school on this subject. But in the end, there are only 4 simple things you need to do to be a great listener. The 4 things listed below are: pay close attention. Before you answer, take a moment to look it over and say it again in your own words. 6, listen attentively. Focus intentionally on the mouth and eyes of the person speaking. Imagine your eyes are 2 big spotlights that must illuminate the other person's face. Some believe that absorbed attention is the best way to flatter. When you listen to someone intently, their self-esteem rises and they feel more important and valuable. They feel happy, and as a result, they show more affinity towards the person making them feel this way. To listen attentively, you will need to eliminate all possible distractions. If you are in your office, turn off your phone, put your computer on standby, set aside your papers, tell your secretary not to pass calls, and remove any other distractions. If possible, get up from your chair and sit where you can see the other person directly in the face, without interruptions and without anything to distract you. If you are at home and a family member wants to talk to you, turn off the TV, set aside your phone, and remove anything else that might distract your attention. While the other person is talking, look at them in the face, lean forward, and imagine that talking to them is the most important thing you can do. In the end, it will become a habit. 1, pause before responding. Wait 3 to 5 seconds or even longer before you speak. Don't speak right away when the other person takes a breath. 2, let there be silences in the conversation. This habit of pausing before speaking has 3 advantages. First, you avoid interrupting the other person if they have only paused to organize their thoughts. Second, you clearly show the other person that what they are saying is important to you and that you are thinking about your response. If you rush with comments and observations, you show them that you are not really listening, but rather waiting for an opportunity to speak. Third, and most importantly, when you pause after the other person has finished speaking, you are listening more deeply. The words, like water soaking into the ground, penetrate more deeply into your mind, and you understand more clearly what they mean. But 3, ask for clarifications. We should never be sure that we fully understand what someone else is trying to say, especially if there's a chance that we might be wrong. Wait a moment and then ask them what they mean. Asking, "What do you mean?" is my best way to make sure I fully understand what someone is saying and what they are trying to say. As a general rule, the person who asks the question is in charge. Questioning during a talk means you are in charge of it. People who ask the questions have power over the people who answer them. Also, you can listen even more when you ask, "What do you mean?" or "What exactly do you mean?" What is being said to you makes more sense to you. In a kind and professional way, you stay in charge of the talk. The conversation rule: listening makes people trust you.